All right, folks, what is going on? This is episode 585 of the First and Frame Rate Show. I am VF Baller. Over here, we talk about Georgia Southern and Atlanta Falcons football. And today, we're going to talk about the wide receiver situation in Atlanta. I don't think it's a dire situation, but it's something to really be, I ain't gonna say be concerned, but something to talk about. Is it a concern? This is a good question to have, to be honest. I'm not really sure, but we're going to talk about it because we just had Bernhardt, wide receiver, is going on the reserve retired list, which is kind of unfortunate because I thought he was going to be a really good asset to the team, which, it's not the end of the world because of that, but I just thought it was going to be a pretty good look for us to bring a guy that was undrafted and pretty much got some good speed on him, not able to perform. And we we just signed JJ Arthega, that's the way to pronounce it, Arthega Whiteside, from the Philadelphia Eagles / Seattle Seahawks. And I'm gonna give you my thoughts and opinions about that. And also we're gonna look at the entire roster on that's well, I ain't gonna say the entire roster, but most of the roster that are wide receivers on the team. So if this is your first time here, welcome. I can be found on YouTube and Rumble. I'm also on Anchor, Stitcher, Spotify, Apple, Google Podcasts. My Twitter handle is at VF Baller, so you can follow me over there. And the website, firstandframerates.com, firstandframerates.com. You guys could check out the website. That is the hub where the podcast is located, basically. You can support if you like. All right, so let's go ahead and get into this. What is going on with the wide receiver situation? I know we're excited about Drake London. I know we're excited about Mac Hollins. And I'm actually pretty excited about Scotty Miller, which I will get to in a second. But with the fact that, Bernhardt is being placed on the reserved retired list, really got me thinking a little bit. Well, we put him on the reserve retired list and we signed Arthega Whiteside. What does this mean for the wide receiver situation? Is it all is lost? Is it not up the par? What are we looking at right here? Are there really concerns at the wide receiver position? Looking at the list that we have, I don't think it is the worst. And I don't think it's really that bad, to be honest. And I'm gonna tell you the reasons why. First and foremost, with what's his name again? Bernhardt on the sideline once again with being on the list. This does, bode well for the Scotty Miller situation. Scotty Miller is basically going to be the guy that I thought that Jared Bernhardt would be. He's going to be that slot guy. Kadero Hodge is also going to be out there as well. But when you look at a guy like Drake London and Mac Hollins, you're basically looking at the slot guy being Miller or Hodge. You can pretty much interchange those two. But when you're doing a 4 wide receiver set, it's going to be a matchup nightmare for a lot of teams because even with a 4 wide receiver set, you're probably going to still insert Kyle Pitts in one of those 4. So there's a lot of things you can move in that situation. And another reason why it may not be the worst for the receiver situation, you do have 2 tight ends that are looking really good. I saw some footage on Jonnu Smith, and it looked like he is back into form. Look like he's ready to go. Great leaping catch in practice. Hopefully we see more of that in the real, in real games. And you already know what Kyle Pitts can do when healthy. So when you're looking at a Drake London, Scotty Miller, Kadero Hodge, Mac Hollins, those 4 right there look like they're going to be the high production guys. I'll get to Arthega Whiteside in a second. And I'm going to look at these other guys that we have. We have Penny Hart, former, Georgia State standout. Frank Darby, which I'm kind of wondering why he's still on the team. It really, I don't know. I mean, it's not like I don't think he's a bad receiver. He just hasn't produced, but he's still on the team. You got Slade Bolden, the receiver out of Alabama, Josh Ali, Kalon Harris, Xavier Malone, and Justin Marshall, which I think he's a kid out of Buffalo. That kid could be an absolute steal. I've watched him play against my Georgia Southern Eagles in the Camellia Bowl, and that kid can play. So if he can, polish up some things, you're probably going to be looking at a guy like a Marcus Colston type of player. I mean, he stands at 6'4", like 215, 210 or something like that. He's a pretty big target. And I'm not gonna say he's gonna be like Marcus Colston, because Marcus Colston really good for the Saints. But when you're looking at a guy that possibly could come out of nowhere, and you got guys like London, Hollins, and Scotty Miller, I mean, he could sneak up on a lot of guys. So we do have some players. The reason why I think it's a cause of concern, because every single player on this roster is fairly unproven. Outside of Mac Hollins, Drake London is in his second year. He's still got that second year to get over the hump before he's truly going to be that elite receiver. You know, it's not a knock on him. I mean, but you had a rookie season that was actually pretty good. But you know how it is. That sophomore slump, can you get over that? And then year 3, okay, he's going to be that guy. Scotty Miller's also been proven to do things within his own right. But when you put all these guys together, it doesn't scream that it's going to be an elite offensive set at wide receiver. What's going to give these guys the edge is the fact that you got 2 tight ends that are proven. And I know that's weird when you say, well, you know, Drake London had a good season his first year, and you know, you have Kyle Pitts had a great season his first year. Is Kyle Pitts unproven? No, I don't think he's unproven. I think Kyle Pitts was on his way to be, you know, have big numbers his second year. He just got injured. So I think he's proven to be one of those guys that can actually put up numbers. Now, with that being said, you're going to have a better passer on the field. You're going to have another tight end with Jonnu Smith that can actually make things happen. Jonnu Smith and Kyle Pitts are going to open up a lot of things for these receivers. So that's why I don't think it's that big of a concern. Now, if we didn't have these 2 tight ends, and I mean, we just had some guys that was, you know, that just some guys on the field that play in the position, I will be kind of worried, because then you have to force the ball to a fairly young and I ain't gonna say inexperienced, but a bunch of young receivers that don't have that much of shine as far as being a number 1, being a number 2. And now I'm going to talk about JJ Arcega-Whiteside. I don't have a problem with this pick. I don't have a problem with the signing. He has the size, 6'2", 237. He did play tight end for the last time he was on the field. I don't know if that's going to bode well, if they're going to run him at tight end, or is he basically going to be, you know, filling the spot for, you know, Bernhard, and Scotty Miller is going to be what Bernhard was supposed to be. I don't know if that's going to be the case, but I will say that I don't see nothing here. And it's not a knock on him. It's just nothing there to get pretty excited about. If you look at his last 3 seasons, I mean, he basically had 16 catches for 290 yards and 1 touchdown. I mean, I don't know what I'm getting with Whiteside. Just being honest. I don't know. It's not saying that he won't produce in this offense, because this offense is going to give opportunities to a lot of players. A lot of the people don't really understand that. When they think about what Coach Arthur Smith does when they run first offense, you have to understand, it's not just Derrick Henry was a situation why he's run first. You just had limitations of what you can do with the ball with the quarterbacks you had. Desmond Ridder is pretty much one of the first quarterbacks that he knows that he's molding in his right, in his image as a head coach. So he's going to put the ball downfield more. He did it with Matt Ryan. Matt Ryan, he was able to push the ball more without the receivers that we had. You know, so there's going to be opportunities for Whiteside if he's able to be on the field, and with all of these weapons, it's going to be some things. But I really feel that the big thing that's going to drive this offense is going to be Kyle Pitts and Jonnu Smith. Now, I know I could sit here and I could talk about the running backs, talk about Bijan Robinson, but that's another story for another day. I'm not going to talk about those guys as receivers. We're basically talking about wide receivers and the tight ends for the most part. And the only reason why I'm bringing the tight ends in, because they're going to complement and they're going to help these receivers get open. So the concern is there if by some chance the tight ends don't produce. If you don't get a production out of Jonnu Smith or Kyle Pitts, it's going to be, you're probably going to basically just have a production out of Drake London and maybe Mac Hollis. And even then, if they can catch on really quick, or if they get into the swing of things throughout the season, Scotty Miller would get some burn. But to me, I feel like that's a big risk to put in off the rip. Even though I know that Drake London had a fairly decent season. He had a pretty good season last year. I don't think that's something that we want to put on him so early or right away in the second season. Even though, like I said, there's a lot of things going on in the off season, but I think it's a safe bet to put all of these weapons together and have all these guys around, a Desmond Ridder or even Drake London or Kyle Pitts. This is why we're getting so many players that could possibly be playmakers. Does this, like I said, does this really concern? Not really. I don't think it's a big concern, but you still got to weigh the pros and cons. You don't want to leave these guys out there to do too much because, I just think they don't have the experience yet. But then again, when you bring guys with experience like a Whiteside or a Mac Hollins or a Scotty Miller, it does help. It's almost equivalent to how things are with the pass rush. You bring a lot of veterans in who know how to get at the quarterback. So Evan Kete or, Zach Harrison, I think that's his name, Zach Harrison, and other young guys that are coming in to rush the passer, it'll be a pretty smooth transition because not only you have the coaches on the sideline, you got coaches on the field as well. Guys who've been around 10, 8, 7, 9, 11 years in the game that knows what they're doing. So I don't think it's going to be a really big issue at the end of the day. I think Bernhard, I wish him the best. I really would want to see him on the field. But even though it does says, retired, reserve retired, does this mean that he's going to be out of the league? It's going to be really unfortunate because I thought it was going to be a lot of upside to him. But at the same time, you got next man up. You got JJ Arcega-Whiteside coming in. You still got a handful of other guys who can make things happen. I don't know much to say about, let's say, for instance, if I was to talk about a Penny Hart or a Frank Darby, does Frank Darby make that next step? Does Slade Bolden comes in and be the slot guy? What about Justin Marshall? He's a big target receiver. Will he be the guy that goes up and catch some, big time, jump balls in the air that Desmond Ridder throws up in the air? What does it mean for all these other guys? I think, Penny Hart and Justin Marshall could really open some eyes. If Slade Bolden steps up and he could be that, Jared Bernhardt that we was looking for. We just never know. But I will say that it all, before I close, I'll say this. Once again, it goes along with what the tight ends do. They're going to be the priority in this passing game, in my opinion, because they're the safety blankets. You got a young quarterback that's basically going to be starting his 5th game once the season starts. You're going to have some guys that he's going to have to be, security blankets. And then once the focus is on the tight ends, then he could expand his offense. Even if the tight ends are being covered, double, triple covered, Jonnu Smith and Kyle Pitts, they're not easy guys to cover. Then you're going to expand out and see if you can get the ball to a Drake Leonard or Scotty Miller or JJ Arcega, or, Mac Hollins. It's a lot there. So is there a concern? Probably not. Maybe I'm overreacting a little bit, but I think at the end of the day, it's something to look at. But something to look at. But I think we're going to be in pretty good positions to be really prevalent in the passing game. If you like this commentary, hit the like button, share this podcast, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Let me know what you guys think. Are there concerns at wide receiver? What do you think? Am I tripping once again? What do I know? What I don't know? Am I talking crazy? Just let me know in the comment section, y'all. I really appreciate the support. Let me know if you follow me on Twitter. Also hit the podcast avenues, Anchor, Stitcher, Spotify, Apple, Google Podcasts. I'm also on YouTube and Rumble. So if you want to watch me on Rumble, that'll be great. Subscribe to all of the open avenues. I really appreciate it. I'm going to get up out of here. I can't thank you guys enough. And I will see you guys on Tuesday evening. All right, y'all. Y'all take it easy and y'all be blessed. Peace.